Hello, I'm Leslie Currier, co-founder of Marin Shakespeare Company and founder of Shakespeare for Social Justice. Since 2003, Marin Shakespeare Company has offered Shakespeare classes in California state prisons. Shakespeare for Social Justice uses drama therapy-inspired games and exercises to introduce incarcerated students to the poetry, emotional range, and wide scope of themes in Shakespeare's play, while they rehearse and perform full-length Shakespeare productions. Giving students a path to discovering their own creativity and self-expression, Shakespeare for Social Justice provides an opportunity for self-awareness, emotional growth, intellectual stimulation, teamwork, healing, and empathy. For many of our students, Shakespeare has had a life-changing impact. Here, in their own words, they tell us their stories.
I think beyond the beauty, the obvious beauty of what Shakespeare brings, one thing that's wonderful is that all of these hundreds of years later that Shakespeare is helping to change and reform men's lives and hearts by being introduced to something beyond themselves and what they've known. And that's why programs like this are so very vital, because what you're looking at is not just art. You're looking at reformation and rehabilitation of individuals who have been denied so much by a society that doesn't see that we have any worth, and we've dug inside of ourselves to go beyond ourselves in order to change, grow, and offer back to society what we have and the opportunity that we have been afforded us here at San Quentin. So enjoy it for the fullness of what it is, because it goes way beyond the words. It's about the heart.
What we've done and what we do is more than just the words. I mean, because when you know, I'm an old roughneck from off the block, right? And so when you first give me some words, first of all, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I'd be sitting, especially in prison, doing Shakespeare, right? That was like the furthest thought from my mind. And so with any words, you give us some words and they just words on a piece of paper. And you have to give emotion to those words. You have to give content to those words. And for me, when I can do it for these words on a sheet of paper, especially some Shakespearean words, it's like, you know, I'm speaking Japanese, you know, when I first hear Shakespeare, it's like somebody speaking a foreign language to me. So you give some context and some emotion and some understanding to these words, that's emotional intelligence. That's maturity. So if you can look at these words and do it on a sheet of paper, I in turn equate that to being able to do it throughout my day in my regular life. You know, because it really takes a lot to be up here in front of y'all, to give these words some context, and then just to have fun with it, to be your authentic self, just to be who you are. So I want to thank everybody for that and echo what Mike said about the importance of programs like this, because the bottom line is that men are getting out of prison, and the question I keep asking society is, how do you want them to return?
I just moved to the board a few months ago. I've been out 22 years. And on November 23rd, 1986, I made the front page of the Los Angeles Times for a murder. Last year when we did this play, I made the front page for Shakespeare. So when I go back to that dorm, last year we were on a high for like 3 months. They treat us like we're celebrities. I'm getting celebrity treatment right here. And I actually took that paper to the boardroom, and I told them, I said, yeah, I was a bad guy back then, and I negatively affected many lives. And in this newspaper right here, I'm affecting people even though I'm in prison. So I'm not that person that committed it. I'm not the same person that I was back then.
We are depicted on television as animals. We are depicted on the television as men who have nothing. We don't care about public safety. We have no family out there. We are undesirables, and that is not true. This lady comes in here and she is strong. She's a strong woman, and she comes in here and she teaches us. She sees that we want to learn because we are salvageable. All of you convicts out there, we are not animals, okay? We come in and do Shakespeare because it rings true in every bit of us. Every play that he wrote rings true. We need these programs for several reasons. Specifically, because it allows us an extension to what's out there. It allows us to also see that we have something to give back, okay? We have something to give back. As long as we're above ground, we can do something positive. I believe that these programs are necessary because it brings people together, okay? Everyone knows we have to wear a face inside an institution. We have to wear a face with the guards. We have to wear a face with everybody else. But we have Samoans, we have black men, we have Jews up here, we have Christians up here, okay? We're all getting along, we're all doing it right. We have Muslims up here, okay? Now, I say that to say this, I'm gonna make this quick. Humanity, humanity, humanity. This is who we are, okay? These programs give us everything.
And I've kind of got a picture of the men in my group and my own development over time as a prisoner, okay, and being antisocial and growing out of that, okay, because when we go by the image that society might have of us as incarcerated men, okay, and then we're expected to act that role that everybody has those stereotypes, and we act according to somebody else's preconceived script, right? That's what I've learned over time to get out of the box, okay? And as every role I play brings me more and more out of the box, I have more and more internal freedom versus being incarcerated. I feel more free than ever. And acting allows us to act as well as be authentic. We're allowed to act, so that kind of gives us a cushion, all right, and gives us a place where we can learn from in order to deal with people.
This environment, this world, we build up like this culture of distance from everybody. And the way that we do that is we use a lot of anger, a lot of violence, and a lot of means that normal society, they pretty much have abandoned. We go back to a caveman type world where it's like, if you cross me, I hammer your head. And for me, it was like, it's stepping out of the comfort zone. And there's a huge worry of like, how will I be judged by my peers in here? How will they look at me? Because I have this persona or reputation amongst the men in prison, and they look at me one way as a brutal, Viking type. I tell people I'm like the modern day urban Viking. Fortunately, the Marin Shakespeare Company and the program here has allowed me to find some of that humanity again. But there is, I don't know if it's a fear, it's like an anxiousness and anxiety of how will I be judged by my community in here for doing this? Because I still do it. You see me, the lady over here, she had to say, go up there and dance. And I don't want to dance. People will laugh at me because I'm big ass. I'm the tattooed monster. If I dance, I'll lose some of that reputation. So there's this anxiety that comes with it. But, what? Next I'll sing, and that's really scary. But, when you step out, I think that, like, the biggest, challenges in life, the best way to address them, it's an old surfer phrase, it's like, go big or go home. So just step outside the box. It's like, don't stick your toe in the water and see if the water's fine. Just dive in, and it'll be okay. You're going to come up and you're going to be like, you know what, the water, it really wasn't that bad, and now I'm enjoying myself.
East Oakland, a rough neighborhood, and along with my friend Jay James and Jesse James, and for me, I'm real insecure about my look. I got a thug look, and I do, have, like it's a thug in me because that's how I grew up, and so it's a little bit in me, but it's controlled and it don't come out in a negative, way. So for me, it was very, very hard because you're right, it is a different caliber of people and a different, it's just a variety of different stuff that I'm not really used to because I'm, so from the streets. So it was very, very hard. Really, to be honest with you, up until this play, it was very hard because my insecurities made me think that people didn't believe in me or people didn't think I took it serious. I'm not saying my family, but I'm just saying in general. I thought people, I got this thing about people not believing in me. So I said, okay, I'm gonna show them, you know what I mean? And I did a lot of praying. I prayed, and I gotta give credit to my grandmother because I do this for her because she's not here.
Thugs can cry too. Got that thugs all right. That's all right.
She don't.
That's all right, brother.
My grandma was the only person that ever believed in me, you know what I'm saying? And when she died, you know what I'm saying, I just, you know, she knew that I got a lot of good in me, you know, and she knew that I could go farther. So I always, you know, just push farther, you know what I mean? And she said she's been going since 2009. I do everything in her name, you know what I'm saying? And you know, this right here I've never did anything like this before.
I only started this program about a month and a half ago. It's done a lot of impact on me. At first, I was, you know, I've been dealing with the criminal justice system since I was 13 years old, and I've spent a lot of time in solitary, and due to that, kind of secluded me and made me feel anxious to be around other people and talk to people and be social. And I gotta say that, you know, the Shakespeare program has helped me get out of that. And it's really helped me in many ways, communicating, and I really appreciate it.
I've been having them lock the door on me for 33 years. Okay, I've been in since 1985, so that part is of stepping off of this and back into this other reality. It's just the way that it is in this context. I have to separate that from this personally, if that makes any sense. This is medicine, right? And it's like when I play my music, it's my medicine. I do that because I know there's still healing in me that needs to be done. I spent 2.5 decades on level 4 prisons where this didn't exist. So that when I came here, right, this was very disconcerting in the sense that, okay, now I'm up close to people that are actually treating me like a human being. How do I deal with this? Right? So what it does, it's like osmosis, you know. I learn by watching and from the example that they set for me as citizens that step in and out of this context, right? How to treat other human beings. And we're all human beings, right? And Gary, hey Gary, the thing about it is this, and I'll end with this, right? And these guys are so tired of me saying this. I am one person that absolutely believes and am convinced that there's only one race, and that's the human race. You know, when we get past our willingness to be divided, we come together and we do amazing things. Look at these guys. Some of these cats in here had absolutely no idea that they had the capability to do this. I didn't. This is very intimidating when we first step into Shakespeare, right? I mean, it's, excuse my language, but it's scary as hell, right? But I've learned by watching, right? And the people around me showing me how to move and how to work, right? And in that, you know what? It's deepened me. And I believe it's made me a better person.
Years ago, I would be like deathly afraid of public speaking. I've been in prison 21 years, and since I was 15. And so, you know, in the 90s, when I came in 96, and so the narrative in 1996 was that, you know, these youth who commit crimes were these super predator, right? And what do we do with super predator? We lock them up. And so locking up these super predators, you know, we buy into the, you know, the narrative that I am a super predator, I am this bad person, and so, you know, and my actions, you know, dictated that, right? And coming into this arena here in this area, and like, dang, I'm not what they said that I am, right? You know, and I think, you know, it's very liberating, you know, when you come to your own and come to this understanding, like, I'm my own person. I can think on my own. I can do things on my own. I'm free in my mind, right? And so it really, really is, you know, an honor and a privilege and a blessing and very healing to be a part of something like this. You know, and just the platform that we have as men, you know, coming from our background, right? It's very yeah, very healing. You know, and it makes the journey of prison, you know, that much more tolerable, right? Awesome, you know. No. But I really very empowering, right? Very empowering, and just something is you know, being in this group, it says something, you know, having folks come in, you know, for one, you know, I feel, you know, I hope I don't offend anybody by saying this, right? So those who do come in or you wish to come in and work with us, please don't come in with the mindset that I want to go in and help these people, right? Please, you know, it really, when you come in with that mindset, it really does us a disservice. You know, if you want to empower, right, come with open hands, and we're gonna meet you with open hands as well, you know, and open heart.
To me, acting has always been about accepting challenges and nailing them. I guess it helps me express a lot about all the emotions that I suppressed in the past, and so like to me, theater. It's more than just conveying to the audience and hearing Shakespeare's words. To us, it's about complimenting each other, how important it is to connect with one another so that we can all achieve something big, whether it's community, family, friends, diversity. And I wrote something down that for the women of Shakespeare, who are strong women with an appreciation, sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep loving concern. With that being said, the most beautiful thing cannot be seen nor touched, but felt in the heart.
My favorite line of the play is not one of mine, but one of Prospero's, when he says, we are such stuff as dreams are made of. And for me, it's my favorite because it's a little reminder for us who often don't feel like we are what dreams are made of. We sometimes feel like we're what nightmares are made of. And for those of us who have tried to change and live a different kind of way, to be thought of as what dreams are made of is something special. It's why it stands out in my mind.
This is my first play. My name is Bruce, and actually it was very challenging for me. When I was a child, after venturing to high school, I was in drama class, and I wanted to become an actor. But needless to say, I was in a different direction. I was in the streets. I didn't see this as an opportunity to grow. I seen it as a failure, as those squares. But if I knew what I knew now, I wish I would have done it. But I tell you, never late, never late.
I suffer from bipolar disorder, so sometimes I'm really severely depressed, or sometimes I'm really manic. And I think through this program, I'm able to balance out how I feel, because if I'm depressed, I can put it into acting and it'll make me happy. And vice versa, if I'm manic, then I can still do it through here because it'll make me concentrate and calm down a little bit. So that's why I do it.
You know, there's a saying that idle minds are the devil's workshop. And this keeps us motivated, it keeps us interested in our rehabilitation. And for me, there's a lot of purging in this group because I get to not be me for right now. Me, a convicted felon, I get not to be a convicted felon while I'm up here. I get to be an actor. I get to be someone else back in the time of Shakespeare. So, you know, you have that humanity amongst us. And, you know, right now, I had to think of my dear friend Bella, who always encourages me. And I had to think about something happening to her so that I could start crying for this guy, you know what I mean? Because otherwise I can't cry at all. But it's very therapeutic. It gives us a great opportunity. They should have this at every prison.
I come here for the aura, because every time I come in this class, and these group of people up here, and these guys I've been working with for a long time, They change the color of my mood ring each time. Everyone has their own problems, but when it's time to show up, they show up. No matter what we go through, no matter what we say to each other, when it's time to crunch, we crunch. And that's what I love about these guys, is they step it up. I came in this class and I thank Soraya, and I thank Leslie, thanks Mama Kay for being here, and Jane, Shelly. They just taught me things, how to go inside myself. And that's something I never thought of because of where I came from. And I just enjoyed them and I thanked them, and hey, this was my last place, so I gave them all. I played the soothsayer, Caesar, beware the Ides of March. Well, one of the things about it, I also played Senator the Poet. When they thought I was Senator the Conspirator, I was like, no, Senator the Poet, not Senator the Conspirator. But what this gives is a great chance, not only for the spectators and the guests to come and see us, but to actually see ourselves better than we were 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And as you can see, we've all developed into a new man. So if you've seen Caesars as play actors, we've also developed into new characters. We're no longer the same people that we came in. We're leaving out as different individuals with an upgraded insight of mind to go out there and be positive and to instill, give courage and encourage the other brothers that we left, that you too can be somebody if you just apply yourself.
It allowed me to look at you guys and see that, okay, they're kind of goofy and they don't really know who I am. And it allowed me to expose myself to all these guys in a good way. Okay? It allowed me to show them who I am. I'm not just this transgender running around here, but I have feelings and emotions, and I'm a person. And that's what it allowed me to do, was to show them that I'm human.
Shakespeare it's timeless, but for me growing up, Shakespeare was very intimidating. Like you said, the language was almost foreign. Just didn't even think it was their English language that they was doing these plays in. But like the men here, that overcome that fear or that intimidation, I think was just set by the quality of the leadership we have here. To see the examples and the role models for the guys that came before us, that are doing these plays, and then also lending back. And I want to highlight that quality of leadership, because I think what we're doing here inside prison is redefine the narrative of what a prison shot caller is, right? So you got this sound bite of a prison shot caller, and that's typically somebody who's been in prison for a while, that knows the in and out, and pretty much is going to tell the next person that comes in on how to conduct themselves while they're in prison. Well, today we got like this new version of a shot caller in prison, and that's all the leaders that's here amongst on this stage. You know, instead of doing all the hyper masculinity and the violence shot calling, they're doing the shot calling in the sense of, hey man, you can do something better with your life.
That's
right.
That's right. That's right, man.
Yeah, you can make amends for the offense that you came here. And you know, some of these offenses we committed is horrible, and it's still painful for those who we offended. But hopefully, by what we did here today and what we shared with you guys today, that we will show that we overcame that intimidation of Shakespeare. You know, hundreds of years of writing, and we were able, hopefully, that we can redefine that narrative of incarceration and men incarceration, and what we're doing with our time and being incarcerated.
Well, for me, drama therapy helps me to do several things. One, for a long time in my life, I learned to hide my emotions, and you hide your emotions long enough, they get very dampened. And so then you become disconnected from it, and it basically makes you antisocial even when you're feeling social, because people people hear your words, but they don't see it in your expression, and you don't have the right responses. So a lot of things that happen in drama therapy is about getting back in touch with just those social tools that a lot of people take for granted. So for me, that's what drama therapy has done for me.
Just like the world prison is filled with characters, but drama therapy teaches you to understand that there's a backstory to that character. And if you can understand that the backstory to any character you come across, not only do you get a better feel for them, but you know how to navigate around them. You know how to deal with them. You know what is the root to their issues or their shortcomings, or their flaws and traumas. So being in this family, in this group for so many years, it's taught me that everybody is literally just acting their lives. They can't help it. And whether I'm a big part of that life or a small part, they're just acting it, and I'm just a part of it. And I don't want to mess that up for them. And I'm not going to let anybody mess that up for me. So it allowed me to be not just more of who I truly am, but to just stand in my truth and who I am as a person. And it was life-changing. It's beautiful. Thank you, Soraya. Thank you, Leslie.
Interacting with free people and then going back to the cell, interacting with you guys is really part of our rehabilitation, because level 3s and 4s, like, we can't even shake your hand and interact with you guys, or we don't even see any visitors. This is the most I've seen visitors in 16 years and put together in all the other prisons I've been to. So when we see free people in other prisons, it's usually 2 or 3 or 4 people, and they're at a distance, they're locking us down. They make us feel like we're dangerous, they make us feel like we're animals, and they need to protect these free people. So when I came here a little bit over a year ago, and I interacted and encountered free people, felt a little bit more like a human. I felt a little bit more like, okay, they don't see me as dangerous, or they don't see me as violent, or they're not scared of me. And interacting with you guys, it is part of our rehabilitation, because once we get out, we're gonna see you guys and interact with you guys. So having that process now, interacting with you guys and slowly getting over that, you know, I'm a human too, I'm not just a prisoner, like, I'm more than just a prisoner. It's a step forward, and it's an easier process when we get out to interact with the public.
I've been doing Shakespeare for like 6 years now. I take away a lot from this. I really take away a lot from the new guys. They showed me. I learn something new every day. You know, sometimes I get stuck in my ways and say that I can't learn nothing, but I learn something from everybody. And to see these guys come up and step in these roles and take these big roles, you know what I mean? They give me education on how to reform myself and not to be scared and step up to the plate. And I would like to see, like, this, when I get to the streets, I want to introduce this to a lot of young black males, because I figured if I would have had this on the streets, I probably wouldn't be here.
This acting puts me in the moment, and it helps me connect to myself. So when I get to that point, it's like I'm in a really deep state of peace. So I want to keep finding ways to do that.
A year ago, they did Romeo and Juliet. I sat out in this audience and I watched it. And I was inspired by watching them being able to get up here and express themselves and have fun. And so after that, when they were ready to do this play, so I talked to a few people. I know most of the guys up there, I knew them already. And I was telling them how I enjoyed their show and how I would probably try it. And they encouraged me to join. And then so I came up here, and now I'm up here sitting here talking to you guys like they were last year. And in that, I think that's they inspired me. So if they did that to me, maybe I can get up here and somebody's out there right now watching, and they'll be a part of next year's performance.
Actually, I kind of got suckered into this. I was walking with a friend of mine, and he was like, "Hey, you want to go to this class? Don't be scared to express yourself." I'm thinking it's some self-help group or something. I show up at this acting class, but I'm actually thankful for it, because it's helped me to see that you can interact with people and build bonds with people that you never think that you would. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here amongst all these people right here, right now. Got to know people, got to build bonds. You know what I'm saying? And we'll share something with them in a memory that I'll never forget. You know what I'm saying? So I can pass on to my kids, and it's just something that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. So I want to just say thank you guys, and it was a learning experience.
This is my first year doing this play right here. They really took me out of my comfort zone. And I'd like to thank you guys for bringing it here so we can do this. And I dedicated myself to do this for my son, to let my son know that he's only 8 years old, but sometimes you have to get out your comfort zone in order to do something different and to see different things and experience different things.
I did this for my family. I let them down in so many ways. So I want to show them that in prison I'm doing something positive, that I'm trying to change my life around, that I'm living the life that they taught me how to live, and that's the good life.
I'm an MC, a lyricist, and when I grew up, I used to, hear people like Shakespeare, and I was like, what is this thing with this Shakespeare thing? I never really got into it. And I came to a couple of classes. The guys had asked me to come by and check it out. And Mr. Luke Patrick, he gave me a book with the complete works, and I read some of the sonnets, and it just blew my mind. It was like, if he could have been here today, he would have been like the #1 rapper.
There are things that we want to do or want to say that we don't say, and we can take those emotions and we pour them into how we act and into our characters. And it's a way to express and get out some of the things that we otherwise probably wouldn't in the environment that we're in right now.
In our day-to-day lives, in prison or out of prison, you have to step into a role. If you're a father figure or if you're a boss, you're not the boss at home that you are at work. So you have to step into these roles and become this character in order to fulfill a job. And the same goes here.
As far as getting ready to play Julius Caesar, I started this because I wanted to step out of my comfort zone. You've known me for a long time, and it was just, taking that first step to show some humility and actually humor in myself, to laugh at myself, and to keep this a brief answer. The preparation, I think, helped me prepare for the role, and it was that hard work that inspired me. I had to do it. I put the work in. All these guys put the work in. We had to deliver. We were down there just last night. And it's like, all right, let's do this.
The first and most important thing is Leslie and sorority.
Yeah.
We asked. They give us insight to what specific lines mean. And with knowing that we know the general direction of where the character is supposed to be, or the foundation of the character. But outside of that, I encourage all of the men, especially when we together, is make this your character. Create your own backstory. To where we're not following in such a tradition that it's what you guys have already seen. So, and one of the benefits is we've never seen a Shakespeare play outside of us. So we don't know how the characters act. So we have to take our interpretation by just reading the lines and sitting and thinking, man, I think the dude is tripping right here. Or Touchstone is, he crazy. He might be on drugs or something. And taking that and creating our own backstory. I've asked Emil, I've asked Drew, I've asked Jesse, what's your name? I don't want to know your real name. What's your name? Because when we start to not just embody our characters, but understand, like, this is who I am. I am Jacques. Box. So by doing that, by creating our own backstories, we've made it accessible to just be another version, almost a better version, a more contemporary or urban version. And it just makes it relatable to a lot of the people that we are trying to appeal to.
I didn't want to play King. I didn't want to do it. I actually wanted 2 other roles, and I got bust down, I think, right? At least that's how I took it. All right, bro. At least that's how I took it. But interesting enough, like, the role I played as Kent, like, that's kind of like who I am in real life. Like, I'm actually like this person. Like, I'm loyal to a fault, even when, me and this other person, whoever I'm dealing with, might have a falling out. And it's like, I know that you really ain't in your right mind, so I'm gonna still back and play even though you feel some type of way about me right now. So kind of like, what Marin was saying about he was the only person, like, it wasn't really just him, it was me and Cordelia. Like, we wasn't having it. Like, bro, you tripping and you need to try to, figure this out. And we not just gonna go for whatever you're talking about. Like, we have something to say about how you getting down right now. Like, this ain't cool. And we was the ones that got banished for it. And he kicked us out the kingdom. So in just in my own personal experience in dealing with this, like, doing these plays, it kind of brings a piece of you out of your personality. I don't know how it always happens this way, because even in King Richard, a piece of me came out in that. I was like, I don't know how Shakespeare was dope. Like, I didn't really realize like how Shakespeare was so cool. Like, so for him to have the vision and the foresight and really kind of prophesizing in his own kind of way, to be able to, write these roles and write these characters, and then when we play them in an environment like this, and a piece of us comes out in it, it's like, that's pretty amazing. So I think that's kind of like transformative in a way, you know, in how we project ourselves with these characters, and there's a piece of us that's being given out there.
The biggest surprise for me playing King Lear, with the disappointment that he had with his daughters, is something I can relate to. I'm the only man in my family that's ever been arrested. Therefore, I've disappointed my parents to a point that I don't know how much pain I've caused them. So that's what surprised me, and that realization really hit me. And I tried my best to portray that from the stage, because I'm appalled at myself with my actions. I need to be at home with my mom, you know, and my daughter, and my son and my grandchildren. But yet, because of my decisions, I'm here, like Cordelia's decision. No, but that's what surprised me, how much I really felt it. And it was a long process, man.
Different backgrounds and different religions and cultures and traditions. We leave all of that behind and come here together, and we check on one another. We've built relationships that we can take with us anywhere, you know? And that's priceless, you know? And I like to believe that I'm a better man today because of this. I'm glad to have these people in my life today. You know?
But I'll tell you this, when I walk back into that block, every one of these guys are my brothers. But prison isn't like that. But we try to make it like that because we can.
How can you get to do so many different things? You can come in, you get the camaraderie of everybody, and we have fun, and we joke, we play around. We get to see a guy in a dress, you know. I mean, it's all fun, you know. You get to, people come from the outside, Leslie, Soraya, Brent, Elizabeth, Cassandra, and we sit around and we get to sit and just pretend. Because we live such a serious life around here, sometimes it's fun to just be able to play and feel open.
How do I stay motivated? These people here, Leslie, lovely people that come in, Brent, and, you know, Elizabeth and Cassandra and Soraya, they keep us motivated to be better, to just want to explore these characters. We've had guys that you see on the yard boxing, hitting the bag, and you would never think they would come in here and taste Shakespeare. That motivates me. People like you that come in here and see us as adults, as human beings that are striving to be better. That motivates me. You know, this gentleman here who came back and said, "Oh, I'm not going to do it," and we got him back. This man here who has the nerve to get up here and the wherewithal to get up here and play a woman. That is motivating.
Y'all don't see the other half when we get to practice in the building. and what it is that really, I mean, we all have different attitudes, we all have different little things we go through, but what's great about it is that we can all come to a final conclusion, and this is normally the final conclusion. So we all go through our little things, but the bond that we kind of make between each other. I mean, we speak to each other. It's not just Shakespeare. We speak to each other during the week. We talk to each other during the week. And essentially, I believe that's what life is about. It's about making connections. It's about having a positive support group around you. And so for me, it's just an extension of my positive support group, and that's why I like it.
I'm a pretty rigid person that kind of stands up and down and like a robot. But one of the things I'm noticing about change, when you make a commitment to change your life, you have to start to engage and challenge yourself in ways that you're not comfortable with. Because if you're always comfortable, then chances are you're really not changing. And to get up here and comment and act silly and be the butt of a bunch of jokes, because I know you guys don't remember Jamil and the Plows, okay? So, but in order to succeed in life, we have to overcome those challenges and those hurdles. And, you know, this may seem like just a haphazard bunch of guys that came together, but what it really is the building of another family, you know, another form of camaraderie and progress. And, you know, I challenge everybody that you think that you don't have it in you, dig a little bit deeper and just put yourself out there. And just that effort and that journey that you take yourself on.
I grew up in like a very poor area, and it was very racist. You feel me? So for me, just speaking personally, like I never wanted to hear about a white man's writing or anything, you feel me? So like actually taking the time and breaking it down and understanding like, man, they went through the same stuff that my people went through. Like coming in here and doing something by a black author would have been easy for me. But doing something from a white author, that I never took the time to as a kid to even embrace or even try to understand was completely like mind-blowing for me. You understand? I think that everything else afterwards, the experience that we have in here, is like extra. You know what I mean? Because it becomes like a real family. I speak for a lot of us, like I look forward to the Wednesday and Fridays. You know what I mean? Because like, no matter what I'm going through, unfortunately where I'm at, when I'm going through something, I can't just go home and go to my family and be there with my family, you feel me? But I know Wednesday and Friday I can go with my other family.
I'm like a lot of these other brothers. I've been doing time all my life. I've been down 21 on this number, and I've discharged the number. Just came down from level 4. And I never thought that I would be in anything like this. I really enjoyed myself. I remember one morning, I was late to class, and I was outside the door and couldn't get in. And Alejandra had everybody in there doing something in Spanish, and I was mad I was missing out. I was like, man, I banged on the door, trying to get in. So it's fun, man. Whatever you're thinking, it's not that. It's fun, you enjoy yourself, and Shakespeare is a great writer.
I didn't care about my performance. I was just getting out of my comfort zone, doing something different, enjoying that experience, the fear, getting over the fear, and changing myself, transforming myself. You know, I really wasn't tripping about how the performance was going to be important to me. I didn't realize that, and that I love it. You know, especially when I get support from all the members that give you support here. They don't care if you can feel self-conscious, and one thing I got from it is it dawned on me that however you feel when you're uncomfortable, however you feel when you're self-conscious and you're doing something different, it would help me. It's like, damn, all these people feel the same thing.
Yeah, we just come together as a collective. We work together. We hold each other accountable for, you know, getting our lines together. We get on each other. You know, it's like a family in there. And in there, all the masks, all the walls get taken down, and you know, we just get to be us, be goofy, be fun, you know, and just dive right into it. When you first get into it, though, you might be a little spooked, like, why is Leslie doing, what is that? I don't do the I don't do that. You may look and be like, what is that? Okay, and just fall back, like, no, but okay, like maybe next time, but you feel me, all that, but it's fun. It helps you to, you know, come out of your shell and, you know, embrace something different, you know, and just leave this place mentally for a couple hours every week. And, you know, it's very fun and fulfilling at the end of the day.
Well, as you guys saw, we have fun out here. Yeah. So, and if you just heard you come in a bad mood, you can just leave in a good mood. So the vibe and the energy amongst the group is genuine. It's genuine love, it's genuine careness, and we argue, we laugh, we work hard, we clown around, but we get the job done. So you can come in one mood, and trust me, you leave in a whole better mood when it's all said and done. And we all lean on each other, and we express ourselves, and it's a good vibe because of Soraya, Mama Kate, Janice, it's just the whole freestyle, it's just a good vibe out here.
Sometimes life can put you on an island, and you can feel totally all alone. And this performance for me has brought me some close friends. Guys that I normally wouldn't even spoke to in the art. Guys that I probably had ignored, and they ignored me at the same time.
What I would say to somebody that's a little fearful of jumping in, it's not a matter of jumping in when you first get in the course. We all help you. We help you adapt. We help you understand. Leslie has great teaching skills. All the people around her that help her and support her also help you become stronger and more confident with yourself, your speaking, your understanding, everything. So it's not so much jumping in as it is stepping in and then wading in as deep as you want.
Being able to mesh with a lot of these individuals right here, we're all different people. We all come from different places with different backgrounds, and normally we wouldn't even talk to each other outside on that yard. But coming in here, we're able to gain some sort of bond of friendship and openness with one another, to be comfortable with one another, to allow ourselves that freedom to express ourselves.
just the ability that everybody can get along. Everybody, because a lot of fellas, there's a few guys that I've known for a while, and there's a few fellas that I didn't know. And it's like we all meshed as one. We all became a family up here. And with everybody being able to memorize their lines, even the ones that at first couldn't, we were all there to help them. And it was just, it impressed me how we all came together as one.
Marin Shakespeare to me is more than just us doing plays. It's like a family, and it teaches us. For y'all will have to see it, that what we go through in here and the stuff we go through to make us come together and be one unit. I don't know, like Banks, Reese, Kales, Tall, a few other brothers that keep me going, like keep me wanting to stay positive, not be that person again. You know what I'm saying? It took me a while to open up, but I'm here and I love Shakespeare.
I don't know if you'll ever fully grasp, right, just what it means to us as men in prison to get an opportunity to be connected with you in the outside community. Especially those of us that maybe don't get visits from our families, that don't have contact with the outside. This is precious.
It gave me an opportunity just to help. I've been in Shakespeare for a few years. I've had bigger parts, but this play just allowed me to just help and just be in a position just to help anybody, just to simply be of assistance and not make the play or make the stage about me. And that's something that we all need, to just be able to not have things about us, not make it all about us. And that's what I took from this process, just being able to take the sidelines and help.
The thing that I think I'm taking away from this, or how it helped me change, sometimes prison, it enables us to build walls up around ourselves or our lives or our outlook on the world. And I was one of those people that I didn't just build a wall, I built a castle. And Shakespeare and some of the other groups, they've allowed me to start to chip away at that castle and open myself up to new experiences that I'd locked myself away from before. And some of the big things that I'm taking from this are diversity in my life. Sharing myself with other people I hadn't shared myself with in a long time because of prison. And in doing so, we built a small community where people would see us on the yard and they would ask what we were doing, or they would look at us and laugh, but it didn't matter that we'd all become like brothers and friends, and we supported each other. So the biggest thing that I'm taking away from that is that it's just, life is good if you live it. And Shakespeare's allowed me to do that. It's allowed me to laugh at myself, to smile, and to be like, hey, it's not so serious. I might walk around the world looking like Julius Caesar with a big old scowl on my face, but inside I'm a pretty happy, bubbly person. And that's helped me to do that.
Doing that piece with Emil wrote about this is a man's world, it's really about how we learn masculinity, right? Because that is something that is learned. And in that piece, he learned masculinity through violence, right? And for us, I feel like growing up in certain neighborhoods, certain cities, we have to prove ourselves. We have to have a certain image. So our definition of masculinity is kind of flawed. But today, how I view masculinity, and I mean this for real, like, is being sensitive, is being caring, loving, right? And all those tough definitions of masculinity don't exist anymore.
I'm really listening to my partner, the acting partner, because Christine comes alive. So I think it's helping with my wife. I'm actually paying attention to her visual cue, what's going on. I'm really listening to her, I'm watching. And so if I'm listening to Hamlet, if I'm really listening to watching, he's going to give me everything.
This is my first time in prison. I have no prior record before this. But a gang member murdered my sister when I was a little boy. And that made me a very bitter, angry person. So I didn't really care for people in prison. So now I'm in here. And so sometimes you have to go through an experience to want forgiveness so that you can learn to be able to forgive. Because I've met some of the most wonderful people in here. Really good men that just made a mistake, that didn't mean it, or just didn't know any better. Because I had a really good life. I have no excuse. But there's so many good people in here. And so sometimes you gotta experience it yourself. So forgiveness is a big thing in my life right now.
What I really found in this play was that there's a difference between feelings and facts. And there is no such thing as one truth. With the brothers, even though they both were telling the truth, you know, like, I was there. You didn't answer the door. Like, I'm telling you I was there. Everybody actually were speaking honestly. They were speaking truth. And it makes me realize that in life, when we see something a certain way, we perceive it and we hold it like it's the gospel, like it's the truth, we can be wrong. But only we hold it that way because it's our feelings. And we believe that our feelings will never mislead us when at times they can. Just because we haven't spoken honestly or we haven't communicated properly and efficiently enough to make sure that we are all seeing things the same way. And that's the first thing that I noticed. It's for the brothers, for the women to say, even the Romeos, everybody were telling the truth. You gave me the money, I went and got the change. I did what I was supposed to do. My husband's in the house. I'm not answering this door. You know, I'm out here, you're my wife, why aren't you answering? Everybody was being extremely honest. But there was just a lack of communication. And just small moments where communication lacks, it leads to major mishaps. And it just makes me believe that not only is communication key, but translating it effectively is what makes all of us say, okay, I see what you're saying, and it makes it easier for us to be like, okay, I was wrong. My feelings were wrong. I didn't know everything that came with me. So I think this play speaks to more issues than just a comedy of errors. It speaks to let's really, really talk. Let's not let our feelings and our angers and our mistrust be the thing that pushes us in directions that we may not necessarily know is good for us at that time.
Growing up and maturing as becoming a younger man, I've been pretty selfish. And coming into this has actually helped me learn not to be so selfish and to be flexible with other people. And I know when I go home, I'm going to work with other people. And that's going to help me in a job place to be flexible and to work with my coworkers instead of alienating myself and getting fired.
I think being vulnerable is okay. You know, that's the main thing for me. Trusting in that somebody trusts in me. You know, and if I want trust, I got to give something away.
I want to say that, you know, commitment takes work. And when you think you know something and you try it, you know, sometimes you really don't. You think you got it, you got the package, you know it, you know this and this and this and this, and you think you can go up someplace like on the stage here and do it right. But sometimes you blow it. And the thing is, that's what life is. You know, life is a stage. And when you get out there and do things and you blow it, you got to get back up. And sometimes, like I was told, you got to ad-lib. Sometimes you got to ad-lib and adapt to it. If it wasn't for the commitment that Julianne and Karen made, rain, snow, and shine for us, a lot of us, you know, probably wouldn't have this experience that we have today. We prepared for this, and it was like we're really getting there, and then we're here. And it is really something, you know, to have some people that would really help us and look and try to do something different.
For me, it was building up the self-confidence and self-worth, because a lot of this, you know, a lot of us in prison, we have that low self-esteem, low self-confidence, and we always doubt ourselves. And this gave me a chance to actually step out, like Larry was saying, find different ways. And also, this is something that I do on the streets. I love doing this.
This was a great opportunity for us to understand that everything goes around to choices and decisions. You know, like you can take a wrong choice and then end up in here, or you can just turn it around and make a bad situation something that you can learn from. And I think this group is an expression of all that emotions that we have inside that we haven't been able to express for so long. And I think that's why all the authenticity of the characters came about, because this is an opportunity for us to free our mind. And I didn't even feel that basically we respect the audience. Any audience is the same for us. You know, we respect all audiences. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to grow as individuals, as human beings, and to connect with our own emotions and to take better decisions next time.
all these people up here are really gifted people, and we are worth more than what they say we are on the daily news.
Hello, I'm Damian Brown, artist in residence at Marin Shakespeare Company. I discovered the Shakespeare for Social Justice program while incarcerated at Solano State Prison. Now living as a professional actor and teaching artist, I know firsthand the transformative power of the arts and the study of Shakespeare's work. Shakespeare reaffirms our shared humanity and reminds us of the complexity of human thoughts, feelings, and actions. Lastly, in a world that has seemed to lose itself in the fit of hate, greed, vengeance, and deception, Shakespeare's works highlights the human need for love, truth, forgiveness, and mercy. Thank you for listening to the voices of these wise individuals and for keeping the hope and promise of Shakespeare for Social Justice alive.
To learn more about Marin Shakespeare Company's Shakespeare for Social Justice program and see videos of past performances and full question and answer sessions, please visit our website at marinshakespeare.org. I'm Alejandra Wall, teaching artist for Shakespeare for Social Justice. From all of us at Marin Shakespeare Company, and on behalf of the incarcerated men, women, and children we serve, thank you for supporting this powerful work.